Back on the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell in your afternoon drive. Kirk Kaplan on the ones and twos. Nick Federico is on the video.
What's Hassan Riddick's problem?
Hassan Riddick wants a new contract, man. So he's been holding out all of camp, which is going into week 2. It's $50,000 a day, which is starting to get a little bit dicey, man. You're talking about a lot of money to not show up and go to camp. I don't get it. I mean, I know that Hassan Riddick wants a new contract, and he's an integral part of that defense for the New York Jets, but I just don't know why throwing away money is the right option for you to do something like that. Just show up, just don't practice. You know, I'm just going to sit here and watch, but you can't find me if I'm just saying I have like a twisted ankle or something.
He's on the did not report list right now for the New York Jets. The Jets have a game on Saturday against the Commanders, their first preseason game. And I don't like this with the Jets. Like, I understand Hassan Riddick, very talented, doesn't need any reps. He can walk in week 1 ready to go. I understand Aaron Rodgers, very talented, doesn't need many reps. He can walk in week 1 ready to go. But there's just something about being there when you're on a team and you are the Jets. Like, it just doesn't feel like all hands on deck. Like, this is a football club. This isn't really an NFL team yet. This is a football club that everybody is getting paid to kind of just hang.
Yeah. All right, but in the case of Brandon Ayuk, he's there. In the case of Jamar Chase, he's there.
Right.
They're just not practicing, so they're not losing money. Matthew Judon, he's there. So, yes, he left practice one day, but he's back after a conversation. These guys want contracts. I think your whole team understands that. You don't mess with another man's money. But at the same time, showing FaceTime, sitting in on some of these meetings, it shows unity and bonding, and guys will probably have a lot more respect for you than where is the dude? You know, the same thing where the guy snapped back at Aaron Rodgers. If you disappear and go on vacation, or you do something where it's not with your teammates, it's very hard for them to take you seriously.
Yeah, and just like with what has happened with this franchise in the last 5 years, you would think that the fix is not like, we'll see what happens, nonchalant. Maybe he'll show up, maybe he won't. We'll try to work it out. Like, the fix on a bad franchise is all hands on deck, and we're going to do whatever it takes to win football games. And it just doesn't feel like that in New York right now for the Jets side. For the Giants, I like what I see for the Giants. A little oosh-bah against the Lions as the center's getting messed with, and Daniel Jones says, "That's my center, man. Don't be messing with my center." And then he pushes some people, and then it starts to scuffle, and then everybody's pushing, and then, you're messing with my quarterback. And you can feel like the Giants have each other's back. I know that they are less talented people than what the two we were just talking with the Jets, but those dudes feel like they are fed up with how the seasons have gone in the last couple of years for New York, and they want to do something about it. I like hearing what I heard from Giants-Lions joint practice.
CeeDee Lamb has been holding out. His fines are up to $400,000. I don't understand why you can't show up. Alvin Kamara, he's at camp fully practicing. He wants a new contract or an extension. So, yeah, it can be done without all of this nonsense. Listen, I like what the Giants are doing. We talked about this in the first hour, and when you get into a scuffle with another team in a joint practice, everybody better be on board with that. You know, and the guys that aren't, those guys will quickly be weeded out. You'll be able to see it on video, or the guys that are up in the bird's nest that are watching the whole practice, and they'll be like, "Oh, there's 42, there's 38. That guy's over there. He's not even grabbing anybody." You know, they'll know exactly what's going on in that. And like Ben said, it's not just about the fight. It's all the brawls I was involved in, it was more or less about how quickly the guys got in from the bullpen. How quickly I'll never forget. I was in a brawl in the minor leagues. Pat Pacillo, who pitched on the Olympic team in 1984, was my teammate. He had started the game, and I came in relief, and the brawl started when I was pitching. He was out in his underwear and socks in the fight. And from that point on, I'm like, man, this dude's got my back no matter what. You know, and so when you see things like that, you learn so much about players. Then we've watched other fights that have happened in the major leagues in this year and last year where guys turned their back and walked into the locker room.
NBA.
Yeah.
Remember when Draymond slapped that dude?
I mean, it's like, okay, then nobody likes me. I got to get out of here. So that also tells players that, they've worn out their welcome in some cities.
We also had another fight in Giants-Lions joint practice. I love when this happens, too. Like, the coaches get together and like, hey, man, we're going to talk about this. Let's keep it down. All right, everybody's getting a little jacked up here. Let's all settle this thing down. And then, okay, we got it going on. And then all of a sudden, Malik Neighbors and Kirby Joseph are fighting over on the side. So Malik Neighbors, your wide receiver, first-round pick for the Giants.
I always like the lightweights when they throw hands. They're quicker. The big monsters are like,
but you're throwing hands on a helmet, my man.
Well, that's not smart.
So
we already said it's not smart.
Now they were wearing the
a
caps.
protective helmet.
They did have the caps on.
Oh my God!
It's
So
a
they've
little
got an
softer
on your hands.
On
but
your
it's still
hands.
another layer of protection.
and it won't hurt as bad. What a dumb boxing match.
No, it's the worst. It's the we don't recommend it. It's more like, listen, grab each other's shoulder pads and stuff like that. Make it look like you're really roughing each other up. And then like, okay, is everybody watching? Okay, yeah, we're really into this.
Yeah, my favorite's the face mask grab off when two big monsters grab each other's face masks and they're not really moving, not really hurting each other. But, man, it's very intense. It
is intense. And there's a lot of name calling and then everybody else jumps in. And that's when you're like, okay. Did we get a water break now?
You brought up Brandon Ayuk. Now, he is on the block. Like the San Francisco 49ers have put it out there. We're not going to pay
him.
him.
Player.
And you can offer some trades if you want to offer some trades.
He's probably going to stay in San Francisco. I can see them giving him a ton of money. I mean, listen, Jordan Love, he complained. He got a huge extension. Tua complained, got a nice extension. So I think.
Yeah, you're talking quarterbacks, though, and there's only one of them, and there's plenty of these receivers to go around. And I won't throw Ayuk in a top 25 conversation. Ooh, maybe teetering there, but you got Debo, you got Kittle, you got 2 draft picks at the wide receiver position. You're going to give a lot of ball to Christian McCaffrey. Like, yes, for Brock Purdy, he's still growing up in the league. And it'd be great to have that receiver. But if the San Francisco 49ers can parlay a Brandon Ayuk into a top-tier defender or another offensive lineman to help up that strong unit that they got, they're only getting stronger. Whether they keep a disgruntled Ayuk, they're still a pretty bad mamma-jamma football team. If they give them up and get pieces, they're even better.
Trent Williams is also holding out. So Ayuk is there, but Williams is not. So when you're talking about guys that are complaining, you need Trent Williams back.
But I'm looking at the Patriots wide receiver core, and I got Kendrick Bourne out. I got Demario Douglas questionable already, and I got a guy by the name of Jalen Polk that I haven't seen catch a ball. He's the kid from Washington. We shall see. Man, if I threw a little Brandon Ayuk in the mix, I'd like the sound of that a lot better than those names I just rattled off, even if they're healthy.
Doesn't seem to be hurting Joe Milton. Joe Mama Milton.
Joe Mama Milton the third. Mama. Right now, still listed as the third stringer for the New England Patriots, but he's winning people over in these practices. We shall see on Thursday, man.
And that's the whole thing, too. Drake May's taking a lot of heat for practice. It's practice. And like you just said, there's a lot of dudes that are out that he could be thrown to and making it look a little bit better.
Good point.
So, yeah, I mean.
But the Patriots preseason here coming up against the Panthers on Thursday night, very interesting. You telling me Drake May's not going to play? Like, they ain't going to pull a Caleb Williams on Drake May. He's got to get reps.
Yeah, especially when my stock's down. And then the Eagles, they play them next a week later.
Yep. They should learn a lot about their teams in these first 2 preseason games, and I think the quarterback competition will be fun. Don't forget about the Zappy man. Don't worry, be Zappy. He's in the back end of that quarterback room, and then Jacoby Brissett. I think if you start,
holy cow, they got 5 dudes.
They got 4 guys, and normally you don't even keep 3. Like sometimes they go with just the 2 quarterback set, and they'll pick one up off the pile if they need to week. So to keep 3 quarterbacks, like we were talking with Trags the other day, I think that is where they're going to go. So one of those 4 guys is not going to make the team. And I could see Brissett, who's penciled in as the number 1, be one of those guys. I could see Zappy, who's scheduled as the number 4, win the job. Like, I could see anything happening in New England. One thing I can't see is them getting rid of Drake May. You're not going to get rid of your 3rd overall pick, even if Joe Milton wins this job. You're just not going to do that, man. It doesn't exist before you actually see this kid play NFL football games. So
some Cowboys right now. I heard this yesterday. Dak Prescott, if he doesn't sign before the season starts, is going to leave. Go leave. Like you're threatening to what? Not win another Super Bowl because you haven't won one. Now you have like 4 or 5 wins in the postseason. So, one of my biggest things with these guys is why you're being paid. You're not just being paid for the regular season. This dude right here wants another $200 million on the top of the $120 million you already got, and you haven't won a championship. I mean, it's one thing to be Aaron Rodgers and have 3 MVPs and a world championship and all that kind of stuff. To be Dak Prescott and still demanding so much that if I'm Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, I got to be like, how much longer are we going to put up with this before we just cut this and go in a different direction?
I don't think you can. I don't think you're going to roll with Cooper Rush.
I know. Roll with Trey Lance. I can't roll with that dude. That's another team's mistake, man. And that's I can't believe you picked that dude up.
But he's with the ownership group too. Like there's so many stars that are aligning for Dak Prescott to get this money that I feel like the clock's more ticking on the Joneses than it is on Dak. And man, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid for your Cowboys this season. This CeeDee Lamb stuff of him.
Well, CeeDee Lamb, who can throw to this guy? That's the problem. So it's like if we pay him big bucks, you got Micah Parsons coming up next year. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to pay a lot of these guys a lot of money in the upcoming years. Do you want to waste $220 million on Dak Prescott?
You lost your best running back to the Titans. You're rolling with Ezekiel and Rico Dowdle.
Elliott's back.
But I think the biggest loss is your defensive coordinator, man. Dan Quinn going to the Commanders is really going to hurt the Dallas Cowboys.
See him twice a year.
You will see him twice a year. I know.
He knows where all the skeletons are.
Take the under in those matchups. Takes the under. But the Cowboys, dude, in an off season,
the guy they should have kept, Quinn, they didn't, and they're going to keep this guy. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
We shall see. We shall see. And another thing, Ayuk. There's a lot of landing spots. I just threw out the Patriots because it's an obvious one to me. But there's a lot of people that would use Ayuk. The question is, what are you going to give up to get him? And that's just going to make the San Francisco 49ers stronger. I'm just looking at your guys' receiving core.
Look at the Eagles, Cowboys. Too, how good Jalen Hurts looks right now.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of people missed the boat on this guy. You were all over him all the time.
I love him.
What a great player this guy turned out to be.
Great person, great leader.
And that's what you want, Guy, you don't hear from this guy. He just wins. There's nothing better than a
But
than
people
a guy
throw
like
better
that.
than him, Rob. He's not the best thrower.
Yeah, I'll take 2 Jalen Hurts any day.
Dude,
whole team of Jalen Hurts.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Eagles look like. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I'm a Saquon fan and I'm a Hurts fan. And if they're going to run some kind of option with those two cats, that's a lot of squat pounds coming your way.
Yeah.
It's 1,000 squat pounds running at you on an option in the NFL. It's right around the corner, man.
I can't wait.
Get your stuff together.
Listen, I love football, love college, love the NFL. I can't wait for them to play actual games.
When's your fantasy draft?
It's at the end of August.
So you got some time.
Got some time.
Before the Labor Day? That's usually the before Labor Day weekend. That's a big fantasy draft weekend.
Everybody starts panicking.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to do it now. Somebody's going to get hurt, and then you're going to be all screwed up.
That's the whole thing, the injuries.
Not going to want to pay your entry fee, and then all of a sudden you're lost 7 friends.
I mean, I'm kind of cocky because I won a couple years ago.
Right.
So it's like now I don't mind being a contributor. So
you got entry fees to burn after 2 years ago.
Entry fees.
I see how it is.
No. John spends the winnings. I don't get the winnings.
There's another team. Watch out for. Harbaugh knows what he's doing. Harbaugh might be quirky. Harbaugh might be hiding from truth.
Yeah.
One thing Harbaugh knows how to do is coach football, man. There's not a spot that guy hasn't been that he's not successful. And the keys that were given to him, to the Ferrari known as the Los Angeles Chargers, if they're not a playoff team, I'll be shocked.
All right, so Jaden Daniels is your Commanders quarterback.
Yeah.
How many wins are we looking at with the Commanders this year? New head coach in Quinn.
Above 500, 9-8.
The defense is going to be it's a tough division, though.
Tough division, yeah.
The Eagles are going to be good. Giants are going to be better. Cowboys are going to be right there. They're a good team.
NFL, whole NFL's good. There's not many. You won't know the
there's
bottom
no
feeders.
free games.
Right.
No.
Bottom feeders will show up about week 8. There's just certain things about leadership, basics in football, not letting people make excuses. There's a reason why these people are continuously successful no matter which team they're a part of. And Dan Quinn is just like Harbaugh. Dan Quinn has never been unsuccessful with a team in the NFL. He's going to be on the top of 500. Like everybody's season or everybody's schedule, you don't know what you're looking at, but just looking at the Commanders' non-divisional games.
They also got Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
came in there from the Chargers. Damn. So yeah, they're pretty tight. Which I don't mind. I like pressure on the Cowboys. That it makes them have to make tough decisions on people.
Yeah.
If you get waxed by some of these teams, especially a guy who knows them pretty well. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back, do the Daily Pickle. We'll talk about the nice losing streak Chicago White Sox have going on right now. A huge win in Kansas City, by the way, last night by the Boston Red Sox. Yeah. So we'll talk about that as well as they cut that wild card lead by a game, and they kind of shut down Bobby Witt Jr. last night. He had one hit. We'll take a quick break, come back, do the Daily Pickle on the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell on your afternoon drive. Thanks for keeping us on the air.